Marcus made $90,000 a year. New car in the driveway. Nice apartment on the 14th floor. A job title that sounded important at dinner parties. From the outside, he looked like someone who had figured it out. Jordan made $54,000. No fancy address. No designer anything. Drove the same 70-year-old car he bought with cash. From the outside, Jordan looked like someone still working on it. 10 years later, Marcus was lying awake at 2 a.m. doing math in his head. And Jordan? Jordan had quietly built something most people spend their entire lives chasing and never reach. Neither of them fully understood why. That's what this video is really about. Not income, not budgets, not discipline. Something much quieter than that. Something most people never see coming. If nobody ever sat you down and told you the real reason a bigger salary doesn't automatically mean a better financial life. Subscribe right now. Because most people spend the best earning years of their lives learning this the hard way. And by the time they figure it out, it's already cost them. I'm Alex. I study the space between what people earn and what they actually keep. Let's get into it. Here's the first thing nobody tells you about a salary. The number on your offer letter is not the number you live on. Marcus accepted his $90,000 position feeling like he'd arrived. And emotionally, he had. After federal taxes, after state taxes, after Social Security, after health insurance deductions, after everything the system quietly removes before the money even touches his account, he was taking home around $5,500 a month. That sounds fine. Until the life that feels appropriate for someone earning $90,000 starts to cost exactly that. He found an apartment that matched the image. $1,850 a month. It wasn't extravagant. It was just appropriate. He financed a car that suited the role, $510 a month. Nothing flashy, just professional. He ate at places that felt normal for his circle. He subscribed to things that seemed reasonable. He bought clothes that fit the position. And slowly, without a single dramatic decision, he was spending $5,200 of his $5,500 every month, leaving $300 a month on a $90,000 salary. And here's the part that makes this dangerous. He didn't feel broke. He felt busy. He felt successful. He felt like he was living the life the salary promised. Jordan, meanwhile, was doing something that looked boring from the outside. He was living on $3,200 a month and investing $800 every single month, like it wasn't optional. Not because he made more, because he never let his lifestyle catch up to his income. But here's what nobody talks about. There's a concept in behavioral economics called lifestyle inflation. But that name makes it sound manageable, like something you can just stop. The reality is quieter and more dangerous than that. Lifestyle inflation doesn't happen in one decision. It happens in 100 tiny ones that each feel completely reasonable at the time they're made. Marcus got a raise in year 2, $97,000 now. He moved to a slightly nicer place, $2,100 a month now instead of $1,850. It was only $250 more. And he was making more. It made complete sense. Jordan got a small raise too, went from $54,000 to $58,000. He kept his apartment. He kept his car. And he increased his monthly investment from $800 to $1,000. Show two-path splitting, visually diverging. Year 1. Their financial gap was small. By year 3, it had already become something neither of them could clearly see. Marcus had a nicer life. Jordan had a growing engine. And the dangerous part? Marcus's life looked more successful. By every visible measure, the apartment, the car, the dinners, the vacations. Marcus looked like he was winning. But here's the psychology nobody talks about. When your lifestyle matches your income, Your brain registers it as normal. Every raise feels like it's already been absorbed. You're always one step ahead of comfortable and one step behind secure. And you never notice the gap getting wider because you're too busy living inside it. Year 4. Marcus got another raise, $104,000, and for the first time, he sat down and tried to calculate his net worth. The number wasn't what he expected. That wasn't even the expensive part. Let's talk about the part of salary most people actively avoid thinking about: taxes. Not in a political way, in a mathematical way. Marcus earned $104,000 in year 4. His effective tax burden, federal, state, payroll, left him with roughly $67,000 to actually spend. He gave $37,000 to the government before he made a single personal decision about his money. That's not a complaint. That's just arithmetic. But here's the part that changes everything. That $37,000 didn't just disappear once. It disappeared every single year. Over 10 years, Marcus handed over roughly $350,000 in taxes on a salary that felt like it should have made him wealthy. $350,000. Quietly gone every year, while his lifestyle absorbed the rest. Jordan was doing something in year 4 that Marcus hadn't started yet. He wasn't earning more. He was learning how money actually gets protected. He'd opened a Roth IRA. He was maxing his 401k contributions. He was reducing his taxable income legally, not through loopholes, through the basic tools the system already offers. Tools available to anyone. Tools most people never use because nobody told them they existed. Jordan wasn't just investing $1,000 a month. He was investing it in accounts that grew without being taxed. Every dollar was working harder because fewer dollars were leaving. And Marcus? Marcus was earning more, paying more taxes, spending more, and somehow always arriving at the same place. Not quite enough. But here's where the real problem lives, and it's not the one most people expect. Year 5. Marcus was now earning $110,000. He had a good life. By every social measure, a really good life. But something had quietly shifted. His income had become a ceiling, not a floor. Think about what that means. Every month Marcus needed his salary. Not wanted it, needed it. The apartment required it. The car required it. The subscriptions, the dinners, the life he'd built. All of it required the check to arrive on time, which meant, if it ever stopped, everything stopped with it. Marcus had turned his income into a dependency, and he didn't realize it because the lifestyle felt like success, not like fragility. Jordan, in year 5, crossed $60,000 in invested assets. Not because he earned more, because he had built something that didn't need him to show up to keep growing. Every month, whether Jordan worked or not, that money was compounding, quietly, without drama, without effort. That $800 a month he started with in year 1, by year 5, it wasn't just $800 working for him. It was $60,000 working for him. And $60,000 invested at a reasonable long-term return generates roughly $4,800 to $6,000 a year without Jordan doing anything. Pause. That's not a lot yet. But here's what most people miss about this moment. Jordan had crossed a line that most people never cross. His money had started making money. He had built the beginning of an engine, one that would keep accelerating whether he got a raise or not, whether the economy cooperated or not, whether his boss liked him or not. And Marcus? Marcus had a salary that required his presence, his health, his compliance, his continued employment. One without the other, and everything unravels. Year 6. Marcus's company announced restructuring. He kept his job, but the raise he expected didn't come. And for the first time, he felt something he couldn't quite name. Exposed. Let's jump. Year 10. Marcus is earning $118,000 now. On paper, that is a successful career. But his net worth, the actual number that measures financial health, sits at around $47,000, mostly in a 401k he barely touches, a small savings account for emergencies, no investments outside of work, no assets producing income, no engine running in the background, $118,000 a year, and 10 years of it produced $47,000 in actual wealth. That's not a math problem. That's a behavior problem. Jordan in year 10, still earning $71, still driving a practical car, still living below what he could technically afford. But his investment portfolio, $187,000, built from $800 a month, growing the entire time, compounding the entire time. And here's what $187,000 does that $47,000 cannot. $187,000 invested, generating a conservative 7% annually, produces roughly $13,000 a year. Without Jordan working a single extra hour, that's over $1,000 a month, arriving whether Jordan shows up or not. Marcus earns $118,000 and has $47,000. Jordan earns $71,000 and has $187,000. The salary gap told one story. The net worth told a completely different one. And here is the uncomfortable truth at the center of all of this. Marcus didn't make bad decisions. He made the decisions that felt correct for someone at his income level. He lived the life the salary implied he should live. He just never questioned whether the salary was actually building anything, or just Lucasimus' performance. Year 10. Marcus started doing the math, not because anything catastrophic happened, but because he finally sat down long enough to look at the actual numbers. And the numbers said something his lifestyle had been hiding for a decade. Here's what your salary actually is. It is a trade. Your time, your energy, your presence, your compliance, in exchange for a number that arrives every 2 weeks. And that trade, on its own, has a ceiling. The ceiling is your salary. You cannot earn more than they agreed to pay you without their permission. You cannot take a month off without consequence. You cannot get sick for too long. You cannot disagree too loudly. You cannot leave without it all stopping. That's not a criticism of employment. Employment is real, it's valid, it's necessary. But employment alone, without something running flangs alongside it, is a container. And most people spend their lives filling the container, instead of building something that eventually overflows it. Jordan isn't rich by the definition most people use. He doesn't have a yacht. He doesn't have a second home. He doesn't post about financial freedom online. But here is what Jordan has that Marcus doesn't: options. Jordan could take 3 months off and his money would keep moving. Jordan could leave his job tomorrow and have time to find something better. Jordan could absorb an unexpected expense without panic. Jordan could say no to a bad manager, to a bad deal, to a bad situation, because no single paycheck owned his entire life. That is what wealth actually is. Not the apartment, not the car, not the title. Options. Quiet, boring, uninstagrammable options. Marcus and Jordan didn't have different incomes at the start. They had different relationships with income. Marcus used his money to look like where he was going. Jordan used his money to build where he was going. One created an image of wealth. One created the infrastructure of it. And the terrifying part is that for years, the image looked more convincing. For years, Marcus's life looked like the one worth having. The nice apartment, the car, the dinners, the lifestyle. And Jordan's looked like sacrifice. But sacrifice and strategy look identical from the outside. The difference only shows up in the numbers, and the numbers take years to tell the truth. Here's what the salary myth actually costs you. Not money, time. Every year you spend earning without building is a year of compounding you never get back. The money you don't invest at 28 isn't just money. It's the version of that money at 48, and at 58, and at 68. It's the decade of growth that never happened because the lifestyle consumed it first. And most people don't feel this loss because the lifestyle fills the space so completely. There's no visible gap where the wealth was supposed to grow. You don't feel the absence of a future you never imagined. The dangerous part isn't earning too little. It's spending years believing a bigger number on a paycheck is the same thing as building a future, while quietly, month by month, the gap between what you earn and what you own keeps growing. Your salary is not your wealth. Your salary is just the raw material. What you build with it, that's the only number that will ever matter. If this video made you think differently about your income, hit the like button. It tells the algorithm this kind of content is worth pushing to the people who need it most. Subscribe if you want to keep thinking about money this way. And share this with someone who earns well, but has never stopped to ask what they're actually building. I'll see you in the next one.